What if Coco isn't meant to join the good guys or the bad guys, but instead burn the whole system down and build something better from the ashes? That's what I think is happening with Coco in Witch Hat Atelier. Now that the anime is nearing its end, I have some theories regarding the future of the story. So, let's talk about Coco's future, where she started, where she's heading, and why I think she's not going to end up as a pointed head or a brim cap. She's going to become something the world of witches has never seen before. I am an anime only watcher until the show ends, but I would like to see if my theories hold true. Manga readers, you are free to make fun of me or correct me. Let me recap a bit of what happened so I can set the scene of what might happen in the future. When we first meet Coco, she's a normal girl who is absolutely obsessed with magic. And I don't mean that in a casual way, this girl loves magic the way some people love breathing. But after discovering that anyone can use magic, the worst comes to fruition. She accidentally turns her mother into Crystal using forbidden magic. Magic she wasn't supposed to know existed. Magic she stumbled upon by witnessing something that she should have never seen. And just like that, the thing that she loves most becomes the thing that destroyed her family. That's an enormous amount of weight to put on a young girl. I mean, Coco is like what, 10, 11? But here's what the show does that's so interesting. It doesn't let Coco collapse under the guilt and become passive. Instead, it uses that guilt as fuel. She becomes Kifri's apprentice. She trains, she pushes, and the whole time her singular goal is to undo what she did, to save her mother. But here's the most important aspect. Saving her mother isn't simple because the magic she used is forbidden, which means the magic that could reverse it is probably forbidden too. Right from the start, the show plants this impossible dilemma at the center of Coco's journey. She can't save her mother by following the rules, she might only be able to save her by breaking them. To understand why Coco is so fascinating, you need to understand the system she's operating inside. The world of witches in Witch Hat Atelier runs on something called a pact, a set of rules that govern what witches can and cannot do with magic. The pointed hats, the good witches, uphold this pact. They keep magic secret from non-witches, they restrict dangerous spells, they maintain order, and on the surface, that sounds reasonable, right? But the more you watch, the more you start to notice the cracks. The pact doesn't just restrict dangerous magic, it restricts healing magic, restoration magic, magic that could, in theory, help people who are suffering. The reasoning is that such magic could be misused, could create dependency, and could destabilize the world, and maybe that's true. But the result is a system where enormous suffering goes unaddressed because the rules say so. Like, imagine if Frieren went on her journey to find Himmel and not help anyone because it was forbidden. To me personally, the order is more of an excuse not to take risks of divulging magic to people in order to not repeat past mistakes again. Well, that's the same reason as in the show, but doesn't it sound stupid more or less? And that's where the Brimmed Caps come into play, the witches who rejected the pact entirely. Who decided that if the rules are arbitrary, why follow them all? They use forbidden magic freely with absolutely no consequences. And yeah, some of them are genuinely dangerous, some of them cause real harm, looking at you, Iguin. So you've got two extremes, pointed hats which value order above all even when order means letting people suffer, and brim caps which value freedom above all even when freedom means causing harm. Neither of them seem fully right, and neither of them is where Coco belongs. Here's where things get really interesting. Iguin, one of the most enigmatic figures in the anime, calls Coco the child of hope. Not a promising student, not just a talented apprentice, the child of hope. That's a loaded phrase with a lot of meaning and hope behind it. It suggests that Coco isn't just important to her own story, she's important to the future of magic itself. She's basically the Harry Potter of her anime. But for what exactly? I think the answer is this, a third way. Coco started as someone who loved magic purely and completely. Then, that love got complicated, twisted by guilt, by loss, by the discovery that the system she wanted to join has deep, painful flaws built right into its foundations. Her love for magic hasn't disappeared, but it's been tested and put through multiple challenges. It's becoming something more complex than simple admiration. She's a walking antithesis. So, she's learning that magic can heal and harm, that rules can protect and oppress, that the people enforcing the pact are sometimes doing it for the right reasons and sometimes doing it because it's easier than taking risks, which might yield a better reward. I mean, Coco is walking a fine line, and the Knights Morales are a step away from erasing her whole memory of magic, and that's a big aspect of her life. It's her childhood dream, her defining trait. But throughout the story, she's absorbing all of that, processing it, becoming the kind of person who can hold all of that complexity at once and still choose to act. Even her master Kifri is breaking a few rules in order to get to the Brimmed Caps. That's why I think Coco won't be a pointed hat, not a brimmed cap, but something new. But in order to talk about Coco's future, means we need to talk about her master. Kifri is presented as one of the good guys, a skilled, respected pointed hat witch who takes Coco under his wing. But the longer you watch, the clearer it becomes that Kifri is not a simple rule follower. He erases memories, he does it to protect secrets, to further achieve his own personal goal without always asking permission. He's decided that his judgment about what's necessary outweighs someone else's right to their own mind. Kifri bends the rules. As Coco's savior and master, he's always shaping her because she's always watching him. She's learning not just magic from Kifri, she's learning a philosophy that says the rules exist for a reason, but you're allowed to weigh that reason. This is why saving her mother might mean that Coco will have to break the rules that the magic world imposed on her. She's supposed to learn now that the rules, even if put in place in order to preserve peace, will get in her way eventually. Take into consideration that she's also called the forbidden magic user for a reason. Kifri is already modeling the behavior the show is building toward in Coco. Rule bending in service of something you believe is right. The difference is that Coco, I think, will eventually do it more openly by spreading the love for magic. Let me pitch you an analogy because I think it maps almost perfectly. Think about Star Wars. The Jedi are the pointed hats, rigid, rule-bound, disciplined, occasionally blind to the suffering their detachment causes. The Sith are the Brimmed Caps, powerful, unrestrained, willing to do anything to get what they want, with destruction trailing behind them. And then there's Luke Skywalker. Luke doesn't become a perfect Jedi, he also doesn't fall to the dark side. He finds a third option. He uses both compassion and power, both discipline and love, both respect for wisdom and willingness to reject doctrine when doctrine is wrong. He saves his father not by following the rules, but by refusing to let the rules be the final word. Coco is basically Luke Skywalker. The pointed hats are too rigid, their rules prevent healing magic. Healing magic because it might be misused. That's a system so afraid of worst case scenarios that it refuses to address present suffering. Coco, who turned her mother to stone, who lives with that guilt every single day, cannot accept that framework entirely. But the Brimmed Caps are too reckless, throwing out all structure, all accountability, all consideration of consequences. That's not freedom, that's just a different kind of harm. Coco is being built, slowly and carefully, to walk the line between those two paths, to understand both well enough to reject the worst of each and carry forward to the best of both. As I have said multiple times, she's going to violate the pact, I'm almost certain of it, but she's going to do it willingly and knowingly with full understanding of what it means, not out of desperation or selfishness, but out of a deep conviction that the pact, as it currently exists, is causing harm it doesn't need to cause. And that brings us to the central theme that the Witch Hat Atelier keeps returning to again and again in ways both subtle and direct. Not all forbidden magic is bad. This is the heart of everything. The pact labels certain magic as forbidden and everyone is expected to accept that label without question. But the anime keeps on showing us situations where that label doesn't hold up to scrutiny. Healing magic is forbidden. But why? Because it might create dependency? Because it might be weaponized? Those are real concerns, but they're concerns that apply to almost any magic if you're willing to think about it hard enough. The logic that bans healing magic could, taken to its conclusion, ban almost everything. Coco's story is the ultimate test case for this theme. She used forbidden magic accidentally, out of love, not malice, while just being a kid. And now the only path to fixing what she broke might run straight to more forbidden magic. The system that calls her a criminal for what she did also refuses to give her the tools to make it right. I don't know, but for me that system is not really justice. That's a system protecting itself. I hate to be the one to say it. So where does all of this lead? I think Coco's endgame, at least as the anime has set it up, is her mother. It always comes back to her mother. That's the wound that opened this whole story, and stories don't have wounds like that unaddressed. To save her mother, Coco will likely need to use magic that is by the Pact's definition forbidden, and when the time comes, she'll have a choice. She can refuse, stay within the rules and leave her mother as she is, or she can act, violate the pact, take the consequences and do what she believes is right. I think she's going to choose to act, but here's the crucial part. I don't think she'll do it as a Brimmed Cap. Becoming a Brimmed Cap means rejecting the pact entirely, embracing a philosophy of unconstrained magic use that often comes with a darker side. That's not Coco. Coco isn't trying to tear down all structure. She's trying to make it better, more humane, more honest about what it is and what it costs. What I think she becomes is something the witch's world doesn't have a hat for yet. A third category. A witch who operates inside the world, understands its rules, and chooses consciously with full accountability when those rules need to bend. Iguin called her the child of hope, and I think that's exactly right. Not because she's destined to save the world in some grand prophecy or burn it to the ground, but because she represents the possibility that the world of witches can evolve, can become something more honest, more compassionate, more nuanced than what the pact currently allows. So Witch Hat Atelier is one of those rare stories that uses its fantastical premise to ask genuinely difficult real-world questions. What makes a rule legitimate? When is breaking the law an act of courage instead of crime? Is it possible to love a system while also demanding it change? And Coco is the perfect protagonist to explore all of that, because she's not a rebel who never cared about the rules, and she's not a true believer who can't question them. She's someone in the middle, trying to find a path forward that doesn't require her to abandon either her love of magic or her conscience. She started the story by accidentally using forbidden magic out of love. I think she'll end it by deliberately using forbidden magic also out of love, but with every lesson learned between those two moments carried in her hands. That's not a villain's arc, that's not even a hero's arc in the traditional sense. That's something better, that's a story about growing up inside a broken system and choosing with your eyes wide open to be the person who fixes it. Coco isn't going to wear a pointed hat, she isn't going to wear a brim cap, she's going to make a new one. If you're not caught up on Witch Hat Atelier, seriously, go fix that. And if you want more deep dives like this one, subscribe and drop a comment. And do you think Coco will ultimately violate the pact? Let me know where you stand.